Welcome to Accreditation Made Easy, the podcast that takes the stress out of accreditation. I am your host, Areaka Jewell, and in each episode, we'll deliver actionable tips, expert insights, and practical strategies to help streamline the process. And of course, make your work life a little easier. Now, whether you're tackling policies, preparing for assessments, or just looking for ways to stay ahead, we've got you covered. Let's simplify accreditation, one step at a time. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Accreditation Made Easy. I am your personal host, Areaka Jewell. And today we're going to talk about something that I noticed after participating in a lot of assessments. First day of the assessment sets the tone for the entire assessment. Now, I know that might kind of sound a little dramatic, but hear me out. When assessors arrive and everything is ready to go, the assessment tends to start off on the right foot. Assessors can immediately focus on reviewing the files, verifying compliance, and then conducting interviews. But when the first day is filled with preventable problems, valuable assessment time gets consumed by troubleshooting instead of assessing. And here's my experience. Most of these issues are completely preventable. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. I want to share some of the most common first day problems that I've seen and a few simple ways to avoid them. All right, let's start with the one that technically happens before the assessment even begins. Let's talk about the hotel. I cannot tell you how many times I've arrived at the hotel only to discover there's some sort of issue with the reservation. Either they can't find the reservation, it's not in my name, it's in the agency's name. Maybe they say they don't have the credit card on file and they want my credit card to pay for it. Now, are these things the end of the world? No. But immediately they create frustration before the assessment has even started. And honestly, this is where the tone starts to get set, the wrong tone. One of the best things that I've seen agencies do is have the accreditation manager or staff, whoever, physically go to the hotel before the assessors arrive on the day they're going to arrive, but before they arrive, right? And verify the reservations with the current staff at the front desk. Verify that the credit card is on file. Verify that everything is in the assessor's name. Now, during one of my own recent mock assessments, we actually took it a step further. The hotel offered to check in each guest and have the room keys prepared before they even arrived. So they had everything ready. The assessors simply walked up, gave them their name, they handed them a key, and they went to their room. And some of them even commented that that was one of the smoothest hotel experiences they have ever had during an assessment. And that's exactly the point. You want to remove the obstacles before it becomes an obstacle. The next issue that I see all the time is PowerDMS access. The morning of day one arrives, everyone gets in, they sit down, they try to log in, and suddenly the password doesn't work. They either can't log into the computer or they can't log into PowerDMS. Maybe they can't even see the assessment, or they can see the assessment, but they can't see any attachments. They're not visible. The permissions aren't correct. Or maybe they're seeing things that they shouldn't, like it's telling them that they should sign documents or take tests or training. Trust me, I've seen it all. And every minute spent troubleshooting access is another minute not spent assessing. So my recommendation is simple. Test, test, test. You should test assessor access before day one. Verify that they can log in, that they can see the assessment, they can see all the attachments, and just verify that their rights are correct. During that same mock assessment that I keep referring back to, we took it a step further. we logged into the agency network on each assessor workstation ahead of time before they even got there. And we placed a PowerDMS shortcut directly on the desktop. So all the assessors need to do, they sit down, computer's already started up, and on the desktop, they see a shortcut for PowerDMS. They click on it, they log into the system, and immediately they can start working. Again, it wasn't complicated. Just a few steps that I did ahead of time, and it removed the friction. That friction that slows the assessment down. Now, let's talk about what I believe is the biggest assessment slowdown of all. Housekeeping. And this is totally something within your control. Housekeeping, things like broken links or missing highlight, incorrect labels, maybe proofs that aren't linked, the wrong proofs. These are all file maintenance issues that should have been brought up during your mock assessment. Again, if we're talking like formal assessment versus mock assessment, these are the type of things that mock assessors should cue into, and you should take the time to fix. This is one that impacts the entire assessment, not just the first few hours. And here's the thing. Most of these issues are completely within the accreditation manager's control. Like I said, will they make your agency non-compliant? No, probably not, but they absolutely make the assessment more cumbersome because assessors spend more time searching, more time asking questions, more time trying to figure out where things are, and less time actually evaluating compliance. When I think about all the assessments that I've participated in, housekeeping issues are probably responsible for more lost assessment time than anything else. So if you're looking for one area to focus on before assessors arrive, this would be it. Now, granted, if you have policies to work on and proofs to go search for, that should be your priority. But if you have some time before the assessment, definitely focus on those housekeeping things. All right, now let's move on to something that might surprise people is tours and static displays. And I want to be very clear. I am not against either one. In fact, I think both can be extremely valuable. The key is being intentional. A tour should help assessors understand the facility layout and identify areas they may want to revisit later. But in my opinion, a tour should generally take about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the size of your agency. This isn't the time to conduct interviews. It's not the time for long presentation. It's simply an orientation. And while we're on the subject, I don't think I've ever been on a tour that didn't include the gym. Yes, the gym, the one that officers and staff work out in. Every agency I know, they're very proud of their gym, and that's fine. But unless there's a standard tied to a treadmill, let's keep it moving. Now, static displays. Static displays can also be incredibly helpful. I am a huge fan of them. They can answer questions before they're even asked. The assessors can do their interviews. They can provide context, but they can also be very time-consuming. Personally, I think about an hour is usually sufficient. Any longer than that, and you're starting to eat into valuable file review time. In fact, one of the reasons I recommend doing the static display on the second day instead of the first day is because assessors have already had time to review the files. That means they can ask more informed questions and get more value from the display. So, if I had to leave you with one piece of advice, it would be this. Try to remove as many obstacles as possible before your assessors arrive. The smoother day one goes, the more time assessors have to focus on what they're actually there to do. And in my experience, that sets a much more positive tone for the rest of the assessment. Now, as always, I will, of course, include a companion document that I will link in today's show notes. And if you're not already signed up for my free helpful tips, be sure to check out the links in the show notes as well for that, or head over to www.accreditationacademy.net/signup. And if you found this episode helpful, please consider sharing it. That would mean so much to me. Share it with another accreditation manager, assessor, a team leader, who might be preparing for an upcoming assessment. All right, friends, until next time, let's keep making accreditation easy, one step at a time.